Of course, only in part 2, but that's when Deckard has really had his stride.
Yeah, definitely super meta right now. So BlossoM way on top of that. And I like that they, have drafted winning matchups, right? The Malthael specifically is just always going to make Durell and, eventually maybe Diablo in these fights have a really hard time. And specifically in the lane, it's not like, BlossoM need any help, but it's also just going to keep giving Feliz more problems to deal with.
Yeah. Just a little small thing, BlossoM, what they tried to do with this invade was to grab the healing well. That's why they continue to try to give vision with their abilities over the wall. If the siege goats, or whatever they're called,
the
Khazra
siege
or whatever,
goats.
the siege goats, man, if they lose vision,
Khazra Impalers?
Yeah, they're normally just called Impalers, but yes. If they lose vision, they can't kill the healing well anymore, so just barely missed it. Gets a few shields, but that's actually huge that Feliz saves that, because that would have been an amazing pick. The middle healing fountain is the most accessible healing fountain no matter where you are on the map to get health and mana, so that would have been a nice victory. They failed to get it, fortunately, but it's a nice attempt there. Now they're going to carefully and quite easily take their own cap. Hanan steps into the lane, and uh-oh, tragedy strikes!
Indeed it does, and I don't know if he's going to make it out of there. I mean, Urel, by the way, of course, but that was still a very dangerous situation. He will be much less effective when it comes to that rotation. Wiz, the and one. Can OJ save that? Wiz is a merciful god.
That was actually so pre-planned. Like, you could tell how much Wiz is normally the shot caller on this team. You could tell how much he's like watching not his screen. You know what I mean? Like, he's like, oh, he's gonna take this path. He's like, I'm not really paying attention to the minions I'm hitting here in the lane. I'm actually trying to set up a kill. And that one's back to full health though.
That was like the and one, or the alley-oop, right? You're just like just throwing the kill his way. He didn't catch it quite, but you're right.
It's the volleyball set, He missed the spike, but he was close. It's still a huge win for them, forcing the healing fountain to be used, etc. But this is when Alex Ross has her power, right? On this map is when you go for the objective. And she can pop Dragon Queen at any moment here. She did not, to my knowledge, use it yet. Here it is now.
Yeah, Dragon Queen on a very effective time to be Alexstrasza. Can BlossoM weather the storm here? Certainly seems like they are in an okay spot. They're pushing, Feliz back, but actually kills start coming in for Feliz, just showing that effectiveness on the point. Wiz the next casualty, and a big win.
Yep. Alexstrasza is again one of those forces not to be underestimated here. And with the baited Sergeant Hammer ban, which allowed them to first pick Maiev, it was going to go Feliz's way. And Meridae's, if this map ends up going Feliz's way, they've got a nice advantage now. Meridae's proclivity to run the Dahaka, or excuse me, the Deckard, over a more meta pick for the map may come back to bite him. We will have to see, but we saw already Impale used and Meridae's Scroll of Sealing right where the circle was placed for Alexstrasza's healing. So they've already prepared for this, and kind of the counters we were talking about that exist in this draft for BlossoM were used correctly, but Honkono dove too deep, and he's not playing Muradin tonight. Cannot just pop Avatar. He doesn't even have 10 yet anyways, even if he was Muradin. And Phoenix does so much consistent damage. It's crazy what happens to you if you just get stuck in there. And he took the 7Q talent as well, so I mean, so much extra damage.
Yeah, you have to respect it, and BlossoM, I guess, did not. So, is this going to be the source of strength that Feliz need? I mean, obviously, winning the objective is not everything. You still do have to play the rest of the game. Diablo will maybe not be playing the rest of the game. Okay, just tanky enough to survive. Gondar maybe actually is overextended, but Aimer doesn't have that much damage.
You can just see what Maiev is capable of when someone steps over the line for just 1 second, when you have Deckard Cain over on your side where you can follow up with additional CC. But yeah, because of the health pool and Alexstrasza's healing output, which cannot be denied in this case because they already used their CC before, he lives for a long time. And that forces Malthael to make the walk of shame back to the top lane where he's going to be clearing the last wave. Urel's freed up to push mid. And Feliz has a lot of, because of that failed gank, Feliz gains a lot of small advantages that are pushing them closer and closer to having 10 first, which is where they're going to hit their big spike with Alexstrasza as well as Hanzo, who will have the ability to hard engage some of these fights.
Yeah, Malthael and Yrel both back towards top lane, but Yrel is actually going to be able to come down faster because Malthael's just a little bit slower. He came into top lane slower, he's going to leave it slower. And so maybe that will give Feliz an opportunity if Yrel eventually ever makes it down. Right now in a 2-on-1, so maybe we're about to see that be not necessarily the greatest place to be. I'm waiting to see if the mid lane is a liability, and there we go.
Yeah. 10's up for Feliz. This is going to be where they can really make a big play. Unfortunate timing because there's no objectives on the map.
Yeah.
Like, I almost feel like they might have even wanted to invade this Impaler camp instead of just passively rotating to their Shaman camp, right? It was a tiny window, and so I can understand the fear, and especially if you're Feliz, like, oh my god, we're winning, this is crazy, like, let's just not mess this up, right? But it is, you know, I think they could have gotten more out of that. Now, BlossoM walks to the biggest objective, and they have even talent tiers. So it was not, there was no way for them to, or rather they chose not to, seize that window of opportunity.
Yeah, what does this feel like for Feliz? Are they able to capitalize on this? Only about 5 more seconds left until our next shrine, and yeah, for Feliz, they are in a pretty good spot. Now, they don't have that talent tier advantage, but they still have a level advantage for a few more seconds.
Look at Honkono's positioning. He's trying to flank. He's got the ping. Dudu is face checking here. We'll see him. It's the worst thing you want to see when you face check like that. But they have control of the shrine first, and that's massive because Dragon Queen is available. Liu is just waiting to use it. Once he does, they will be able to swing this into their favor. So BlossoM needs to make something happen early, try to pop it early. Here it is. Yeah. Dragon Queen's out.
Dragon Queen out. Hanaten going in. OJ is actually doing an excellent job in the front line, zoning for the rest of his team to gradually move up, retake, and how does BlossoM come back in? I mean, Hyperion is going to be a big way to come back, but, you know, Hanaten is just basically immortal up there in the front lines.
The way that Hyperion works is going to maybe steal a lot of these defenders. Hanaten, yeah, as you say, up in the front lines, kind of caught here, but he pops his rogue at the last second.
Oh,
help him stay alive.
Going down, there's the last rites, but it doesn't actually wind up, you know, being the big win that BlossoM needed. It's a 1-for-1 right now, and it does look like, I can't tell if Feliz want to go back in. OJ makes a decision. He's saying yes. Modern Life goes down, and Honkono should be.
There's some miscommunication here with BlossoM on their targeting. Meride runs out of mana, can't heal anybody. He was the reason why they were winning that fight for so long, is because his healing output is better than Alexstrasza's in situations like that one where not everyone can group up into one spot. But eventually he ran out of mana, which is rare for heroes in 2018 that have been released. People talk about power creep, it's really all about the mana creep, okay? And Heroes of the Storm, just ask Murden. But anyway, the point is, he couldn't really give that healing output anymore. Dude did massive damage with his salvo, so Feliz wins another fight off the back of this Alexstrasza pick and the setup that they have brought together with this. And they have 13. And this advantage that they have, this time, let's see if they capitalize on it further. If they try to knock down a wall here, which it looks like they want to do, they're going to try to take this neutral camp, taking small advantages with the talent tier that they have. Something they did not do with 10, but they will do with 13. Less significant than 10, but obviously they're starting to feel a little bit more confident here. I mean, 5 kills to 1. Full stacks on Diablo, nearly, if not already. It's a great position. Feliz is poised to continue to lead this game and take it. They've got 2 forts down. And the usage of the Absorb for Yrel, for Hanaten, was perfectly timed so late in that fight. He had BlossoM duped. I honestly feel like some people in BlossoM like forgot that he had that, or like maybe he used it already, just because he waited so long to use it. He stayed alive, drew so many cooldowns, so much aggro.
Yeah, it's kind of in the same category as like Palm for Karazim. Like, it's that ability that now teams and players are so good at just denying the effectiveness that you never really expect it to just get the team survival. Oh my God, Wiz! Wow, but, that could have been terrible.
But look at Honkono. He was gonna try to maybe cut them off. That was not the arrow that you're like, wow. That was the arrow where you're like, wow. We were wowed by that arrow in a different way.
That is, yeah, very. Very true. Yeah, that arrow will show up in a different game of Heroes and stun somebody, but not this one.
So there's a lot of Twitch clips of great arrows, you know, arrows out there that really stand out. This one might be clip-worthy, but the title is maybe something a little bit different.
Yeah, it will look somewhat different. I mean, there's multiple ways to get highlights, right? You gotta go for either one.
That arrow may cause people in Twitch chat to disrespect North America.
Whew. Perhaps, although there's
that is the normal way to speak of bad arrows, is to disrespect North America.
Is it not? Yeah, I feel like there are probably plenty of reasons that you could do that in general, both in and outside of Heroes of the Storm. But for right now, the biggest thing is that cooldown will not be effective, but it's already back up again. So maybe second time's the charm.
Some weird communication here with BlossoM, by the way. Starting that camp, but leaving it while trying to invade the other side. Both camps leave their shamans alive because those are the longest. It takes longest to kill, so tougher to actually grab. It also gives you some security if you were going to walk away. But Feliz is actually more decisive in this moment. They grab their camp faster, and they're going to be in better position for this shrine. And again, for Alexstrasza comps, that is very important. That's what. If you get 20 before they do, out of the 20 out of 40, that means you're leading in defenders and you can use the Dragon Queen to secure the last 20. That's a nightmare for BlossoM. So they need to be in position to threaten Feliz. Feliz is allowed to do this, it's over. And in fact, they already know that. They're pushing mid, they're pushing top, because they're like, well, we aren't there in time. Let's just leave this alone. We cannot compete with Alexstrasza's healing here, and we're just not even going to try.
Yeah, a big realization, actually. Ooh, wow, forced to just ult to disengage there. The Heroic used Lorenado just to kind of save the day. Giving up on that point and actually allowing Feliz the luxury to time it according to their schedule.
Well, yeah, I mean, look at the split push top with Raynor. It's very threatening, and he does have Hyperion, so if he so chooses to use it, he can do a lot with this. Might not even be necessary, honestly. He's going to heart home. Arrow here completely whiffs again. Unfortunately, it's been a bad day for Aimer, who actually aggroes that cannon tower.
Look how resilient this push is with Alex just healing everyone, just piling on. Full health for basically, I mean, everything except the Immortal, and it's just not going
Raynor's
to be...
damage is missing here, you know, and I think that BlossoM has decided that, okay, we're probably not going to lose this keep no matter what, but I think the reality is we better send him back or we may lose this keep. And he does come back, Modern Life.
Oh, Gondar. He was looking, but didn't wind up finding anything. And so now Feliz not only get to push through, break down that entire wall, set up that keep to be maybe taken later, but they also get a free disengage right now and might even look to go in again.
Yeah. Look at this rotation here for BlossoM. It's very decisive. They know that someone has to eventually deal with that top pressure, so they can push hard like this. And look at Honkono's positioning. He's threatening if they engage. They engaged too far on the top because Wiz went out of his way. But all of this buys time for that top camp to threaten the top keep wall.
Here comes the Hyperion, the re-engage there. OJ very low, so he's forced to try to get out. Last Rites takes him out there. The Soul Stone means he'll be able to come back, but he won't be here for a while. Hanatan might be the next to fall here. He is very resilient as well, but there's 5 members chasing him.
Yep, he used his Absorb already. Is going to get blown up here, though, by Raynor. And now even Salvo is not going to be enough to save Leo. He's trying to use this to threaten everybody back, scare them away, almost, you know, like, you're going to take a lot of damage, run away, but it's not going to actually have an impact on BlossoM as they know they have enough sustainability to push through. And all the while, this entire keep wall goes down. BlossoM with the kill on Alexstrasza and Yrel can now take mid forward. So all the advantages that Feliz had early wash away, and just a few decisive moves from BlossoM. It looked bad for a moment there with Wiz up on the top part of the map, and it looked like Feliz might actually secure a pick. But BlossoM just used Last Rites, which is insanely valuable against Diablo. Something that I had even really not been thinking about in terms of the draft, but when you think about it now, it's a further reason to pick the Malthael. With Yrel on the other side, you have that matchup win, and then you have the Diablo blow up. damage anyways.
Yeah, I think the obvious reason is, you know, percentage damage is pretty good, but, you know, you're not going to be laning against him, right?
Yeah.
So it's primarily, yeah, just to make sure that you can get that first pick off and really snowball the fight exactly as it happened for BlossoM. And, you know, it did feel kind of like inevitability. I'm always worried for, you know, teams that don't have as much experience winning. When they do get an advantage, a lot of times they can struggle to leverage that as much as teams who are in that position over and over again.
Yeah, certainly. And, I mean, you hit the nail right on the head there. And now Feliz needs to figure out what they could do to survive. And is that going to be taking a fight before 20? There's going to be the tiniest of tiny windows for that. That's like a window in a Barbie doll house that we're looking at there. It's pretty small for them to actually find that fight. And BlossoM is just avoiding them. They're not going to the shrine. They're not going to give Feliz the opportunity to fight. They're going to try to get 20 by soaking, by split pushing. And it's actually insane that it's Nubrock who's actually doing the push in bottom. But they're going to have 20. And Feliz didn't. They just waited top for the shrine to activate. They didn't go out of their way to make anything happen. And now it's just OJ sitting in the corner is all they can rely on. And they actually have to walk away from this. Dragon Queen is going to be their biggest asset here, but we're talking about Ringner's 20, huge power spike. Rewind we're looking at here. You do not want to fight BlossoM on even footing. Here's the cocoon.
Yeah, it's a nice way to start the fight off there, trying to break through, and there it is. But can OJ make it back out? Look at that combo. The damage just doesn't even give him a chance to survive. Hyperion maybe, or Dragon Queen rather, maybe a little bit of a foregone conclusion there, and the disc will allow for yet another perfect pick.
Yep. And that's GG. BlossoM will be able to take the game off of this. It will just push forward. Malthael goes top, so Wiz is just going to make sure they guarantee the Punisher for the follow-up fight. This push right here, obviously with only 4, is not going to be able to kill the core, even with only 3 left. But it's the Punisher that will guarantee it. They can start to work on the shields and or get a second keep here. It's going to be the shields they choose. And
are they just going to try to go for it? I mean, I guess they do have that luxury.
You know, I mean, Dragon Queen is available. I feel like this was pretty risky. I mean, obviously they're going to have the Punisher, so they can just win the game off of that. That's the ideal situation, right? They forced Dragon Queen, so that's a big win. But yeah, this was actually very risky. Had Feliz been able to hit a big arrow and like turn a fight like that, fight them under core, then suddenly, you know, like this Punisher doesn't win the game. It probably still will. Feliz is just desperately trying to get 20, like, that's not a minion wave. There's the minion wave I need.
Yeah, and while they're down there sending Hanzo to split soak, just desperately trying to get it. Their core is under attack. He knows he needs it, and he just barely gets it. Here comes the turnaround potential. So, you know, Dragon Arrow comes through only really on Dagondar. Hyperion's down there, and now so Israel. The last rights tick down. They take him out. Now Dudu, the next to fall potentially. He will get locked out there and just not even in the fight. The breath comes through, and it's just, you know, too bad. You can't stand the smell. You got to get out of the way.
Yeah.
The core will fall in the end.
That's it. BlossoM's going to take the 2-0 lead. They will be on match point after the second victory here. Very calculated play there in the end, with the exception of perhaps that 4-man push onto the core, which was looking to be, you know, at first I looked at it and I said, well, this is right. And then as I saw it, like, kind of fall into place, I was like, well, you know, this is actually probably the only way you lose this fight, but at the end of the day, they do win with a decisive push with that Punisher.
But, you know, a better game for Feliz, right? They
Yeah.
actually did have substantial advantages for a lot of the early game. They were able to contest those shrines much more effectively, and BlossoM even just gave it up, right? They said, we're not going to fight you. You have a big advantage when it comes to just playing around that Alexstrasza pick, and I think they made definitely the right decision. BlossoM did.
Let's take a look at the healing numbers here, because this is the thing we were talking about. So, wow, you picked Deckard over the Alexstrasza. What matters here in the end? Healing output, 85k to 41. Alexstrasza is great on the Shrine. She's going to do a lot of healing, especially during Dragon Queen, and can sometimes out-heal what Merida is able to do with his mana, because there's a limit there. But throughout the entirety of the game, in every fight, the fact that your team is always going to be full health and they don't have to stand in one place in order to get it, Merida more than doubles Liu's healing here. And not because Liu is a bad Alexstrasza player. In fact, he's quite good. But the numbers don't lie. Like, Merida is picking Deckard because he has a proclivity for the hero, but also because this hero is just busted. This hero is the best support in the game right now. Like,
so good.
What are you not doing? What are you doing not picking it? Like, what's going on?
Well, more than not picking it, giving it away, right?
Yeah, twice.
I mean, you can't actually ban the hero. It maybe feels bad if you have something else in mind, but you have to have some way to deal with this. You cannot keep giving strong heroes to a strong team as a team that is struggling and expect that somehow magically they will not perform on those heroes. It's not going to happen. But we'll see if maybe the comeback can happen as we come back from a quick commercial break, so don't go anywhere.
이거 지금 이레일이 내려오는 거 보니까 교전을 한번 할 생각이죠.
그런데요.
네, 벽이 있기 때문에 디아블로가 네, 생각보다 더 많은 데미지를 넣어줄 수 있거든요.
와,
뭐야 이 속도? 야, 미라클.
야,
아니, 미라클. 자, 최대한 블레이즈는 혼자 있고, 네.
오, 이미
여기서.
자,
그래도 지금 레오릭의 체력이 좀
다시 한번 묘실각.
묘실.
근데 못 들어가요. 벙커 안으로 못 들어가요.
유효왕할 테키오크라이.
아, 그리고 쓰라리 한쪽에.
진짜 펠리스.
네.
화끈한데요. 지금 같은 경우에는 그냥 무라디를 한번 물어도 괜찮습니다. 자, 그래서 딥스키 속박에만 잘 들어갔어요. 와,
리오가
스나이퍼가
야,
속박에만 넣어놓고 지금 그림장불 이 목줄 쓰는 거 자체가 진짜
대박인데요. 이런 그림 누가 예상이나 했겠습니까?
우린 증오의 굴레에 갇혔다. 어제의 아군도 오늘은 적이 된다. 우린 이 세계를 나눠 가진 대가를 치렀고 그렇게 강해지는 법을 잊었다.
대형 유지, 정군 전진! 로데론을 되찾자! 국왕, 대죽장을 포위했네.
계속 쏴라!
해야 돼요. 싸워라. 얼라이언스를 위하여.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Feliz is having a tough time in this series against BlossoM. They're down 0-2 currently, and we have two fairly dominating games. I'd say game 2 was a little bit closer in the early game. They had a lot of success with the Alexstrasza pick, but as the game went longer, things kind of fell apart.
Right. I was really impressed to see Feliz actually play the first 2, maybe 3 shrines really, really well. But that's kind of the only thing that they did. And to their comp, it was a little bit, I don't know, binary. It was like when they're playing on the point, it's like, wow, they're really good because that's where all their healing, all of their heroes, that's what they're designed to do. When they're off the shrine, it's, well, what do they do, right?
Yeah.
And that's why specifically that Deckard pick wound up being just so much more effective because it's just going to be really effective all the time, not just on that one specific moment.
And it's also very effective on the shrine as well.
Oh, well, yeah, also
like when Deckard was first announced and we saw his spotlight video and no one really knew what his numbers were and stuff, my thoughts were like, okay, Infernal Shrines, Infernal Shrines, Infernal Shrines. Yeah. Maybe some Cursed Hall. He's going to be so good we could set up his potions and he can fight over one area. Turns out he's very good at both those maps, but also every map. Tomb of the Spider Queen will be the map choice here. This is BlossoM's pick this time, as Feliz will finally move back to first pick as their choice. And this is a very small map, so Diablo very powerful here for rotations. Let's see what Feliz ends up drafting here, because kind of moving away from the Deckard has been, I think, a big weakness for them, and trying to run comfort heroes, which for the most part in games 1 and 2 we saw a lot of, is not how the game will be won in the long run. It's not how the game will be played at the highest level, and BlossoM, currently a top 4 team in Korea, is not going to just simply allow those picks to get value.
Well, I think one step is going to be limiting the effectiveness of the heroes that they give over to BlossoM, right? So maybe, I'm not saying necessarily a Deckard ban, but come up with a way to stop BlossoM from getting heroes that they are able to use, so effectively. I mean, maybe it means taking them away, but do their hero pools allow for that? I don't know.
It's like the Ana ban we saw earlier. Even when they tried to find kind of a hole, find a gap in BlossoM, BlossoM was ready. It's, again, historically speaking, it has been Wiz who does the drafting, does the shot calling, but I've been told that in more recent times it's been Gondar who's taken over things, and he just knows how Feliz thinks. He's done his research. It's not his first time playing against Feliz. They'll take the Maiev here with the Hanzo ban. The Hanzo ban, it's pretty strong. It's not as common on this map because there's only one boss at the top. We very rarely see boss takes on this map in general. So, Feliz ends up taking this away, leaving the Maiev open so they can grab it themselves. But Deckard Cain, he has been the story here. As the use, like, looking at his massive support pool on his piece of paper, it looks like he's looking at right now. He's like, well, I could play a lot of heroes, but Deckard is the best. So no shock in this draft so far. What pairs with the Maiev? Are we going to see the Junkrat? Something like that? Is that what we're going to see here with Diablo? Quick rotations around the early game? The answer so far is no. We'll see the Blaze pick come in for the first time here for Feliz.
I mean, Blaze, always safe pick. It's kind of like what Urel was for a long time. But of course, maybe a little bit more versatile. The bunker will definitely help, especially if maybe Raynor gets caught out and needs a little bit of extra saving. But in the end, the bunker is just a giant, pool of heroes that when it expires or blows up, I mean, a new Barok's just like, well, I wonder where I should burrow short. Probably right there.
That is absolutely true, especially if you have something that can burst down the bunker. Phoenix ban is very intelligent here. The Diablo ban as well, for the reasons I mentioned earlier. I think OJ, unfortunately, in this case, will just default to Muradin. But what I would like to see instead of something bolder is the ETC. Go play into what your comp is very strong at, which is early game pressure, early game picks, especially with Hammer on the other side. Junkrat makes it a little bit tougher, but I would like to see an ETC pick here. Move out of your comfort zone, do something that works well on a small map with the Blaze pick where you can just rotate and do so much damage with all the stuns you have. You have Raynor, who's going to get Ace in the Hole at level 1. If you take Muradin here, you have a survivable tank, but you gain nothing else. Muradin's the most generic fill tank when you have nothing else, and they just lock it in here. We have seen some success with their Karzi and Muradin together, but, you know, I would have liked to see something that really gets into this comp, you know?
Yeah, you're right, but I feel like that's kind of a luxury. And for teams like Feliz, playing to comfort picks is not the worst thing that you can do. But it's also not the most effective, specifically in this situation. So,
well, I mean, not even a better team would have likely picked the ETC here, but I feel like you've got to, at some point, you've got to step into...
You got to go for it, right?
Yeah.
Well, for BlossoM, they wind up with what is still a very strong, comp. You look at that and you just nothing really surprises you. The Hammer getting through after being banned, I feel like so consistently today, is going to be, I guess, a big thing to watch for BlossoM. But for Feliz, just any signs of life, because this is their last life.
I mean, this is Sergeant Hammer's most iconic map, and it was actually Dudu who was the player who played it more than anyone else when he was on BlossoM, actually.